Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Renegade Immortal based on novel. So let's start. The black-armored old man frowned and his eyes lit up. First he looked at the river in the sky. After pausing for a moment, his gaze moved to the sword energy left by Sword Saint Ling Qianhu. His eyes were glowing brightly as he stared at that sword energy and sucked in a breath of cold air. There is something mysterious about this river formed by his Tao. However, it has just formed, so there isn't enough power behind it. But this sword energy is strong, very strong. The person who created this sword energy must be a peerless expert. I'm afraid that person's cultivation level has already entered Nirvana Shatua. Wang Lin's two most powerful hands were brought out. His goal wasn't to fight, but to shock the enemy. Wang Lin had already become sober, the madness from the fruit had been suppressed and he had regained his cunning. Right now this old man was not someone he could deal with, let alone the mysterious existence in the Black Tower. The black-armored old man's gaze withdrew from the sword energy. He then looked toward Wang Lin and silently pondered. The surroundings were completely silent except for the sound of the underworld river flowing in the air. The sound of the river flowing created sound ripples that diffused across the area. Just at this moment, a huge divine sense suddenly charged out from the tower behind the black-armored old man. Where did you learn that palm print? The divine sense echoed like a thunderous roar. The moment this sound appeared, the ground began to shatter, but it stopped 100 feet before Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He remembered now. It was this voice that had seriously injured him countless times on the way here. If not for the slaughter energy and finger of death, he would have already died. Wang Lin said, "I learned it in the celestial realm." The huge divine sense muttered, "Celestial realm." Yes, he did go to the celestial realm once back then. Wang Lin began to retreat. He was no longer under the effect of the celestial ascension fruit. Now that he had calmed down, he was covered in cold sweat. Capture him alive. After the divine sense sent out this message, it disappeared back into the tower. The black-armored old man didn't hesitate before suddenly leaping into the air. He moved like a bolt of lightning toward Wang Lin. With his late-stage ascendant cultivation, his hand formed a seal and he shouted, "Wind." With one word, a giant tornado suddenly appeared. As it swept across the ground, the earth began to shatter and countless broken rocks were mixed into the tornado as it charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as he backed up several steps, and his right hand pointed at the sky. The underworld river suddenly descended from the sky and swept across the area. The incoming tornado was stopped by the flow of the underworld river. After a few bursts of reincarnation energy, the tornado was pulled into the underworld river. Such a young age, and you already have your own Tao. You are not simple. The old man's voice was calm. His hand formed a seal and pointed at the sky. Thunder. After the old man shouted, the sky immediately darkened and dark clouds suddenly filled the sky. These dark clouds looked like ugly faces. With the word thunder, a small gap suddenly appeared in the black clouds. Following a loud rumble, a ray of black thunder descended from the sky. Wang Lin's expression changed as he raised his left pinky, without any hesitation, toward the descending thunder. Underworld finger. Wang Lin couldn't afford to underestimate this thunder spell. He heard from Sichu Nan that thunder spells were the most difficult to practice. Unless someone had a lot of skill, they were very difficult to learn. This was because thunder was considered the power of the heavens. And how could the power of the heavens be so easily used by a human? The underworld river began to move due to the underworld finger. The entire underworld river began to move following the direction of Wang Lin's finger. Then the underworld river charged into the black thunder in the sky, carrying the power of reincarnation. An earth-shattering explosion echoed across the sky. Although the underworld river began to collapse, the black thunder was also dissipating. After 1/3 of the underworld river had collapsed, the black thunder dissipated completely. Your Tao is very powerful. The black-armored old man sneered. His right hand pointed at the sky again, and he shouted, "Rain." The dark clouds in the sky suddenly shrank, and drops of black rain immediately began to fall. These raindrops fell down from the sky like swords straight toward Wang Lin. Late stage ascendant is indeed something I can't beat. However, if you want to kill me, it will not be this simple. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he took a step and walked directly into the underworld river. When he entered the underworld river, he merged with it. He became his Tao, he was the underworld river. The underworld river, that had already lost 1/3 of itself, immediately formed a giant wave after Wang Lin walked in. It flowed on the ground and in the blink of an eye turned into a dragon. Wang Lin was located at the head of the dragon. The dragon head rose up and let out a roar. This was the roar of the underworld. It was Wang Lin's heaven-defying Tao. This was the roar Wang Lin gave as he raised his head. The black rain falling from the sky suddenly paused after the roar. Then the black raindrops all shattered and turned into slivers of black smoke. In the blink of an eye, the sky was covered in black smoke. What a good fusion with your Tao. Unfortunately, I don't think your Tao can even withstand one hit from me. This old man doesn't have his own Tao, but this armor of mine does. The old man's expression was normal. His arms opened up as he sneered and flew into the air before shouting, "Wind." The wind picked up again, and formed a giant vortex in the sky. This was a vortex of wind, and its appearance caused all of the black gas to be sucked into it. The old man shouted again, "Rain." Drops of black rain appeared inside the vortex. These raindrops were made of devilish energy, so they were not normal. Thunder. There was a thunderous roar and another ray of black thunder appeared within the black clouds. At the moment the black thunder appeared, there were strands of black lightning moving within the black raindrops. At this moment, with the thunder at the center and countless raindrops connected by the black lightning, it was as if there was a giant nest of lightning covering the sky. Lightning. The old man's voice seemed to even suppress the roar of the thunder. Then the thunder, raindrops, and even the vortex descended from the sky at lightning speed. Wang Lin raised his head. This was a new peak for him. It was a battle like he'd never had before. Unless something heaven-defying happened, then he would without a doubt lose when trying to fight against a late-stage ascendant cultivator, with only his early-stage ascendant cultivation. Wang Lin knew this well, because he had that heaven-defying object. Ling Qianho's sword energy was that heaven-defying object. Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding, took out the 1 billion soul flag, and 100 million soul fragments immediately flew out. After these soul fragments appeared, they didn't fly into the sky, but instead quickly flew into the underworld river. All 100 million soul fragments soon fused with the underworld river. When I was under the influence of the celestial ascension fruit, I was able to create this underworld river with my Tao. Now that I'm sober, I'm still able to condense the soul of the river. The 100 million soul fragments fused with the underworld river and fused into one. This soul was the soul of the underworld river. The underworld river now had a soul, so it suddenly moved when the wind, rain, thunder, and lightning descended from the sky. Wang Lin was inside the underworld river. He spread out his divine sense and his Tao fused with the river. At this moment, his origin soul let out a roar and the underworld river charged into the sky. Now that it had a soul, the underworld river seemed to have gained intelligence. It was like a dragon, as it let out a roar and wanted to devour the wind, rain, thunder, and lightning spell. At the same time, 130,000 strands of slaughter energy came out from between Wang Lin's eyebrows and fused with the dragon. Now this underworld river carried killing intent. This was Wang Lin's real underworld river. It contained 130,000 strands of slaughter energy, 100 million soul fragments, and Wang Lin's Tao. The mix of these charged out like crazy toward the descending spell from the old man. This was a battle of people at the peak. The thunder roared, the raindrops carried the lightning, and the wind vortex displayed its might as the spell collided with the underworld river. At this moment, the sky changed colors and a loud explosion echoed endlessly through air. The ground trembled as a large amount of cracks appeared everywhere. At this moment, it was as if a layer had been peeled off from the entire ancient battleground. The sky above the ancient battleground seemed to have completely shattered. This was a battle of heaven and earth. At the same time as the earth was shattered, a large amount of soul fragments flew out from underground. These soul fragments were all powerful, so they weren't refined by Hu Pao. When Wang Lin saw these soul fragments, his eyes lit up and he shook the soul flag in his hand. The soul flag turned into a giant, black cloth that covered the sky. With just one sweep, countless souls were captured by the soul flag. These soul fragments turned into strands of black gas and fused with the underworld river. As the heavens and earth shook, the black-armored man's expression became gloomy. Then he gave Wang Lin a meaningful look and shook his head. This wind, rain, thunder, and lightning spell is my weakest spell. Next you will see the Tao that belongs to this armor. Tao of the devil. The old man wiped the armor on his chest. In an instant, the armor began to move in a strange manner. Strands of devilish energy came out from the armor and quickly gathered before the old man. A sickle that gave off monstrous, devilish energy formed before the old man. The devilish energy that the sickle was giving off was incredibly dense. There seemed to be some law that was outside of the heavens' control inside this devilish energy. Its appearance caused cracks to appear in the nearby space before the space quickly shattered. This sickle wasn't completely solid, it was changing between incorporeal and corporeal. As it changed between these two states, there was a sizzling sound. The moment the sickle appeared, the old man revealed a painful expression. It was as if he was enduring unimaginable torture. The single-horned devil illusion that had entered the old man's brow appeared. Its expression was the exact opposite of the old man's. It looked very comfortable. The devil illusion completely flew out of the old man's body, turned into black smoke, and entered the sickle. The sickle suddenly became alive and charged straight at Wang Lin. The underworld river and the wind, rain, thunder, and lightning spells continued to collide, giving off loud explosions that echoed across the sky. The sickle quickly flew through the air, leaving behind a long trail of devilish flame. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed as he raised his right hand. Sword Saint Ling Qianho's sword energy condensed at the tip of his finger. Ling Qianho's life revolved around swords. He had created 4 small worlds that he refined into 4 sword gods. He was considered powerful and on par with the All-Seer on planet Qianyun. The power of his sword energy was unimaginable. The sickle was made of the devilish energy from the armor the old man was wearing. He wasn't a devil, so the devilish energy he helped create wasn't pure, meaning the sickle that appeared wasn't perfect. However, the illusion that came out from his brow was part of a real devil soul. With this devil soul, even normal metal could be turned into a devil blade, much less this sickle created from devilish energy. After the devil soul fused with the sickle, it turned into a devilish sickle. It now also carried the Tao of the devil with it. No one knew which was stronger between Ling Qianho's sword energy and the devilish sickle with the devil soul. There was a flash of sword energy as Ling Qianho's sword energy flew out from Wang Lin's finger. This sword energy was simply too powerful. Just it appearing caused the sky to change color. At this moment, it was as if everything in the world had stopped. Even the wind, rain, thunder, and lightning spell and the underworld river in the sky dimmed. The moment the sword light appeared, the sky was suddenly filled with sword energy. The sword energy was so dense that the underworld river went back into Wang Lin's body. The 130,000 strands of slaughter energy collapsed, and the underworld river soul turned back into 100 million soul fragments. The wind, rain, thunder, and lightning spell was the same. The black thunder immediately shattered and the raindrops along with the black lightning it carried all crashed. Even the wind vortex was pierced through by the sword energy and immediately collapsed. The moment the sword energy appeared, all of the other spells had to make way and were not allowed to take attention from it. This was Ling Qianhu's Tao within the sword energy. Tao of tyranny. Ling Qianhu was proud his entire life and traveled the world with his tyranny. The tyranny inside his sword energy was the heaven's might. The devil illusion on the devilish sickle revealed a serious expression. The sickle flickered and charged directly at Wang Lin. The sword energy carried the Tao of tyranny as it swept toward the sickle. Ling Qianhu's figure seemed to appear behind the sword energy at the moment the sword energy and devilish sickle collided. Likewise, the illusion of a single-horned devil appeared behind the devilish sickle. At the moment they collided, the ground immediately collapsed. Then a huge rift dividing the earth appeared and quickly began to spread. The clouds in the sky immediately disappeared, and at this moment, the entire sky dimmed. The illusion of the devil behind the devilish blade revealed a frustrated expression before collapsing. Following the devilish sickle collapsed. Ling Qianhu's sword energy was now dim, leaving only a sliver of golden light. However, this sliver of golden light still contained Ling Qianhu's Tao. At the moment the devilish sickle collapsed, the remaining sword energy swept toward the Black Tower. After Wang Lin released Ling Qianhu's sword energy, he retreated without any hesitation. He had to retreat, he had no choice but to retreat. After Wang Lin became sober, he felt fear. If he had stepped into the tower like he was going to when he was crazy, he would have without a doubt died. Earlier, he couldn't retreat with the black-armored old man watching him. However, now that he had released the sword energy, this was the best time to retreat. The black-armored old man coughed out a large mouthful of blood when the devilish sickle collapsed. He looked weakened, but when he saw Wang Lin retreating, he clenched his teeth and wanted to chase. However, he immediately stopped, then his expression changed and he charged directly at the sword energy. The sword energy was headed directly toward the Black Tower. He knew how important the Black Tower was. Although the old man's speed was fast, the sword energy was even faster. The sword energy arrived next to the tower in an instant. A cold snort came from the tower, causing the sword energy to tremble, but it didn't dissipate. The tyrannical nature of the sword energy allowed it to pierce through the power of the cold snort and land on the tower. A soft "A" came from inside the Black Tower. Although the Black Tower didn't collapse, cracks appeared on it. What a powerful sword energy! The person who created this sword energy is even stronger than me at my prime. The black-armored old man let out a big breath of relief when he saw that the sword energy dissipated and the Black Tower didn't collapse. Just at this moment, thick devilish energy came out from the tower and directly entered the old man's body. The black armor that the old man was wearing gave off a demonic glow. His body immediately began to swell up, and soon he expanded to a 30-foot-tall giant. The armor he was wearing also expanded with him. A black horn grew on the old man's forehead, and gave off a cold aura. At this moment, the old man was no longer human. He let out a painful roar before suddenly turning around. He looked at the retreating Wang Lin, and his eyes became cold. "Little bastard, I want to see where you are going to escape to." With that, he chased after Wang Lin. I won because of the Celestial Ascension fruit, but I also lost because of the Celestial Ascension fruit. Wang Lin let out a sigh before his eyes lit up and he thought, I can only risk it. His right hand touched the bag of holding and a wax pill appeared in his hand. There were countless symbols on this wax pill, and they flickered along with Wang Lin's heartbeat. Wang Lin clenched his teeth, as he split off a part of his divine sense and suddenly charged into his bag of holding. He swept through his bag and soon locked onto a small ball sealed by countless restrictions. Then his divine sense charged inside. Inside the ball, Yao Shishue's face was crimson and countless drops of sweat appeared on her face. She revealed a strange expression that was filled with pain and comfort. There were also flashes of humiliation and struggle. Yao Shishue, tell me how to use the blood soul pill. If you don't, then I'll crush my bag of holding before I die, trapping you in the void. You will maintain your current state until your life force runs out. Wang Lin's divine sense message charged directly into Yao Shishue's soul. His message was like a bolt of lightning, causing her to suddenly become sober for a moment. However, she immediately began to struggle, as the restrictions on her body created a strange feeling that was about to make her collapse. Yao Shishue struggled and said, release the restriction. I will tell you. She would rather tell Wang Lin everything than continue to endure this torment. Wang Lin's divine sense swept past Yao Shishue, and the restriction on her body immediately disappeared. Yao Shishue let out a sigh of relief. Although her face was still red, without the restriction tormenting her, she felt a lot more relaxed. She had never seen Wang Lin this anxious before. Her eyes moved and she was about to start bargaining with him. Wang Lin had split his divine sense, so only a part of it had gone inside the bag, while the other part was controlling his body. At this moment, the black-armored old man was catching up. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and a war axe flew out from his bag of holding. This was the war axe from the giant demon clan. After Wang Lin took it out, he threw it and shouted, "Explode!" The war axe trembled and suddenly exploded, creating a powerful shock wave. The black-armored old man frowned and let out a cold snort. He waved his hand and the shock wave from the axe immediately dissipated. Inside the bag of holding, Wang Lin shouted, "Are you going to speak?" With one thought, the restrictions appeared once more. If she refused to speak, then he was prepared to let her continue to struggle in agony. Yao Shishue's face was crimson, but her eyes were filled with fear. Without any hesitation, she quickly told Wang Lin the method to use the blood soul pill. At this moment in the outside world, the black-armored old man swept away the shock wave from the war axe. Then his right hand reached out toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin questioned Yao Shishue again inside the bag of holding before coming back out. He crushed the blood soul pill in his hand and then a drop of blue blood appeared. With no time to lose, Wang Lin bit the tip of this finger and began drawing a complex symbol in the air with his blood. After this symbol was formed, it quickly fused with the drop of blue blood. Wang Lin quickly grabbed it and pressed it between his eyebrows. At this moment, the 30-foot-tall black-armored old man closed in. Then the symbol came back out from between Wang Lin's eyebrows. He flicked the symbol tens of thousands of kilometers away, and it disappeared over the horizon. After doing all of this, Wang Lin suddenly turned around and the clarity in his eyes disappeared. What replaced it was a crazy amount of killing and battle intent. "Old thing, die for me." The crazy Wang Lin's eyes were blood red. After letting out a ferocious roar, instead of retreating, he charged at the old man. When he rushed at the old man, a flame suddenly appeared all over this body. This flame came from inside his body, and was a very thick and powerful flame. The black-armored man's expression suddenly changed. Rather than closing in, he backed off and then continued to retreat. You've gone crazy. The old man's eyes were filled with shock. Self-destruct. The self-destruct of an ascendant cultivator. The power of this explosion was something not even this old man wanted to face. The mysterious power of the celestial ascension fruit filled his mind. He was already crazy, and his origin soul was currently burning. Those 4 drops of celestial liquid began to boil as his origin soul burned. Wang Lin's figure moved like a meteor, and charged directly at the old man. As the old man's expression changed, he continued to retreat. Explode. The flame around Wang Lin's body suddenly burned even stronger. He looked at the old man, and his body was suddenly destroyed by the celestial spiritual energy inside him. His origin soul was also destroyed along with the body, creating an unimaginable shock wave. If a normal ascendant cultivator were to self-destruct, at most the old man would be injured. However, Wang Lin had the 4 drops of celestial liquid inside his body, so the difference was huge. The power of the self-destruct spread like crazy. The old man's body was the first thing hit, and he immediately coughed out blood. The armor on his body immediately turned into threads, and formed a shield before his body to resist against the power of this self-destruct. However, the shield only lasted 3 breaths of time, before it condensed into the image of a devil. Then it immediately left the old man, and flew toward the Black Tower. Without the shield protecting him, the old man was immediately hit by the power of Wang Lin's self-destruct and his body collapse. While Wang Lin blew himself up, just as his body was exploding, he looked at the Black Tower and threw a punch. This punch was formed by his Tao, life, and origin soul. It even contained the will of the ancient god. All of these powers from his body were used in this punch. This punch formed a powerful gust of wind and charged straight at the Black Tower. The Black Tower shook and the cracks left by Ling Qianho's sword energy began to spread. In the blink of an eye, the entire Black Tower collapsed. A set of armor missing a wrist guard floated quietly in the air. There was a bright flash of a ghostly light, and a divine sense rushed out. You dare to destroy my Devil Tower. Even if you have a relationship with him, I'll kill you. The Devil Tower was an important tool that provided devilish energy, which allowed the divine sense inside the armor to spread out. Without the Devil Tower, it wouldn't be able to cover a majority of the demon spirit land like before. A black formation was uncovered on the ground where the tower used to be. There was a person sitting in the lotus position in the formation. His long hair flowed in the wind and there were golden-purple tattoos on his body. The armor in the sky descended, turned into black threads, and surrounded this person. In the blink of an eye, the armor was being worn by this person, and at this moment, the person opened his eyes. Hundreds of kilometers away, a drop of blue blood appeared from the void. The moment this drop of blood appeared, it quickly flew off into the distance. As it flew, the drop of blood slowly turned into the figure of Wang Lin. The drop of blue blood turned into Wang Lin. He reached into the air and his bag of holding appeared out of nowhere. Then he put on a blue robe, before he took a step and used several teleportations at once. He disappeared without a trace. His figure appeared countless kilometers away. Then he charged directly toward the capital of the Sky Demon country. After the blood soul pill absorbs a trace of divine sense and blood, it also activates another ability for a short period of time. At the moment of death, anything that is linked to the origin soul will be merged with the void. After one is resurrected, they can use the power of their soul and blood to retrieve the items stored in the void. Back then, Yao Shishue used this function. Back then, the All-Seer gave Wang Lin a life-saving treasure, but that treasure could only withstand the blow of an ascendant cultivator. Although the cultivation of the 30-foot-tall old man was at the late stage of ascendant, his true power far surpassed that. There was also that mysterious existence in the Black Tower, so even if he had used the life-saving treasure, it would be hard for him to stay alive. That was why Wang Lin had decided to risk it with the blood-soul pill, after he thought of countless possibilities. Otherwise, he would have had to fight the existence inside the Black Tower, and that existence was simply too powerful. After Wang Lin became sober, he recalled what happened and was completely terrified. If it wasn't for the stimulation of the celestial ascension fruit, he would have already died countless times from the divine sense attack from the mysterious existence inside the Black Tower. He couldn't possibly spend the next 400 years inside the demon spirit land, consuming the celestial ascension fruit to simulate his origin soul. Otherwise, before that person killed him, he would have completely lost his mind to the madness. As a result, he had to risk it all. If he couldn't heavily injure or destroy the existence inside the Black Tower, then no matter how far he escaped, he wouldn't be able to escape that person's divine sense attacks. He was afraid that at the moment the effect of the celestial ascension fruit disappeared, that existence would begin its divine sense attack once more. Wang Lin believed that he would have died for sure at that moment. The existence inside the Black Tower never came out the entire time. It was obvious that it required the tower to exist, and this made Wang Lin even more determined. He came out of teleportation and continued to fly toward Sky Demon City. He had two preparations to make. The first was already complete, and the second was to get help from the ancient demon. Wang Lin secretly thought, the matter from 10 years ago was delayed due to me breaking through to the ascendant stage. However, that matter was extremely important, so I believe the ancient demon won't go back on his word. He flew even faster. There were still some remnants of the celestial ascension fruit inside his origin soul, and now that he was sober, he could easily get rid of it. However, Wang Lin didn't do so, because he needed to keep it as a backup in case the Black Tower wasn't important and the existence inside could still attack him using divine sense. If that is really the case, then I must be prepared to live the life of a fugitive. Wang Lin let out a sigh. He and the existence inside the Black Tower had no previous grievances. It was the existence that attacked him first, but there was no right or wrong in the cultivation world. Strength was the only thing that mattered. After coming out of teleportation, Wang Lin was surprised to find that the celestial spiritual energy he had used up was immediately replenished. This meant that he could use greater teleportation multiple times. It has to be said that the greater teleportation spell consumed a lot of celestial spiritual energy. Before, he would have had to spend time absorbing celestial spiritual energy from celestial jades. However, it wasn't a concern right now, so he continued to use greater teleportation. It must be because those 4 drops of celestial spiritual energy completely fused with me when I self-destructed. After I resurrected, they must somehow exist in a special way inside my body. After thinking about it for a bit, Wang Lin no longer thought about it. He had used greater teleportation many times now and the capital was not far away. It could be said that Wang Lin rushed like he never did before during this trip. Unfortunately, I was under the stimulation of the celestial ascension fruit, or else I would not have left that sword energy behind. However, I remember where that body was. I wonder if the sword energy will still be there if I go back. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he became excited, but he knew that now was not the time to go back to the fire demon country. Wang Lin was only one greater teleport away from the Sky Demon country's capital. When he was about to take a step to teleport, an angry roar suddenly came from behind him. I want to see where you can escape to. A large man wearing armor appeared 10,000 feet behind Wang Lin. This person looked very dignified. His eyes lit up and then his body was covered by a monstrous amount of devilish energy. Wang Lin's expression changed and he took a step out. When his body was about to disappear, he turned around to look at the large man. This gaze almost made him exclaim, "Ling Qianhu." This large man looked very similar to Sword Saint Ling Qianhu. Wang Lin's body disappeared and reappeared 50 kilometers outside of the capital. His expression was gloomy as his eyes lit up and he thought, he is not Ling Qianhu. Although that person looks like Ling Qianhu, he seems to be much younger. In addition, that person lacks the aura that Ling Qianhu has, and their appearances aren't completely the same. There are some similarities, could it be? Just at this moment, the large man wearing armor stepped out from the void behind Wang Lin. He stared at Wang Lin and asked, "Why aren't you running?" With that, his hand reached out and 5 strands of devilish energy shot out from the tip of his finger. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he suddenly asked, "Who is Ling Qianhu to you?" The large man's right hand suddenly paused. A hint of confusion appeared in his devilish energy-filled eyes. Ling Qianhu. What a familiar name. Wang Lin quickly backed up. His eyes became cold and he shouted, "The Da Lu Sword Sect's Sword Saint Ling Qianhu." Da Lu Sword Sect. Sword Saint. The confusion in the large man's eyes became even stronger and he began to struggle. Just at this moment, the illusion of a devil soul suddenly appeared between the large man's eyebrows. He gave Wang Lin a vicious glare before letting out a sharp cry. This cry caused the confusion in the large man's eyes to disappear, and it was replaced by a devilish flame. Wang Lin quickly retreated and shouted, "Ancient demon." A powerful will suddenly charged out from Sky Demon City, and descended before Wang Lin. "You're late by 10 years. The ancient demon's voice entered Wang Lin's ears. "Lend me your blood." After hearing that voice, a large amount of blood came out from the pores on Wang Lin's body. This blood was condensed into the shape of a human, and the ancient demon's consciousness descended upon it. Wang Lin's body trembled, as he had lost a majority of the blood in his body. His face was pale and he quickly took out a pill. Then he sat down in the lotus position and began to cultivate. The devil soul on the large man's forehead stared at the blood shadow before Wang Lin and shouted, in a mysterious language, "Bei Luo, you dare to hinder me." The blood shadow moved and turned into a body with 2 horns. A demonic light appeared inside his eyes. He looked at the devil soul and calmly said, "You are only one of the 9 scattered soul pieces of the ancient devil. Why can't I hinder you?" Language of the ancient gods. Wang Lin opened his eyes and revealed a pondering expression. The devil soul that came out from the large man stared at the ancient demon formed from Wang Lin's blood. It then let out a sharp screech that was filled with penetrating power. The devil soul suddenly sank back into the large man, and the large eyes revealed an unprecedented amount of devilish flames. He then took a step forward and a giant illusion of the devil soul appeared behind him. The eyes of the ancient demon formed from Wang Lin's blood lit up. He casually waved his hand and a demonic fog suddenly appeared. The demonic fog wrapped around the large man and charged into the sky. At the same time, a screen of demonic spiritual energy came down from the sky and covered the entire Sky Demon City. The ancient demon and devil started a great battle in the fog in the sky. Bursts of rumbling sounds came from the sky. Sometimes devilish flames filled the sky, and sometimes demonic spiritual energy swept the area. Wang Lin sat on the ground in the lotus position. His eyes were looking at the sky while he cultivated. It was as if his eyes could penetrate the fog in the sky and directly see the fighting happening inside. This scene caused Wang Lin's heart to tremble. The attacks of the ancient demon and the shattered devil held enough power to split the world in half. All of these spells caused the memories of ancient god Tu Sai that had been buried deep in Wang Lin's mind to surface once more. Wang Lin's eyes became brighter and brighter. As he continued to watch, he completely gave up on cultivating. Instead, his hand subconsciously formed seal after seal of various spells from ancient god Tu Sai's memories. Although he formed these seals, they had no attack power behind them. However, at this moment, through the mysterious connection to his origin soul, an oppressive power erupted on a small planet countless kilometers away from the East Demon Spirit Sea outside of the Demon Spirit Land. The original body, with a head full of red hair, suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes looked like they contained the entire sky within them. At the moment his eyes opened, his hand began to move, forming various seals. The original body's red hair flowed and the stars between his eyebrows flickered. As his hand continued to change, the stars began to flicker even more frequently. Then his hands suddenly extended to both sides and he said, "Absorb." With one word, the small planet he was on began to tremble. Strands of spiritual energy moved toward the depths of the planet, and were absorbed by the original body. At the same time, Wang Lin also did the same motion in the Demon Spirit Land. He stared at the thick fog in the sky and slowly revealed a smile. The battle between the ancient demon and the shattered devil allowed me to understand some ancient god spells. The benefits the original body obtained can't be estimated. This battle lasted for 3 days. The blood Wang Lin lost had already been replenished, as celestial spiritual energy cycled his body and stimulated his bone marrow to create more blood. As the celestial spiritual energy cycled through his body, he reached his peak. While calmly looking at the sky, his right hand formed a seal and he pointed upwards. The underworld river suddenly appeared around him. Countless broken limbs could be seen inside the river, and there was a constant wailing coming from it. Shattered devil, although I, Wang Lin, am weak, I am not someone you can casually kill. Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and the 1 billion soul flag appeared in his hand. He tossed it into the underworld river. When the 1 billion soul flag entered the underworld river, the 100 million soul fragments came out. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and took out the restriction flag. This flag was damaged back when he used it against the divine retribution, and a lot of the restrictions inside it were broken. Although there weren't many restrictions left, Wang Lin still threw it into the underworld river. After that, it was the celestial sword. Although Shuligua was extremely unwilling, he didn't dare to refuse Wang Lin right now. He could only endlessly sigh in his heart and think, forget it. We have already returned to Sky Demon City. That little beauty has been waiting for me for 10 years. I wonder if she was faithful. As he thought about this, he was thrown into the underworld river by Wang Lin. Following him was the half-moon blade. Then it was the soul lasher, sword sheaths, and Mo Yang's sword. In the end, aside from the war chariot and the mysterious painting, Wang Lin threw almost all of the treasures he had into the underworld river. The countless treasures inside the underworld river formed a very chaotic, but very powerful force. Then Wang Lin took a deep breath and pressed his finger between his eyebrows. The 130,000 strands of slaughter energy turned into 130,000 life seals that protected him. His eyes were still locked onto the sky. At this moment, his eyes narrowed and he flew into sky without any hesitation. His hand extended toward the ground and the underworld river flew into the air and condensed into a yellow light. Not only did it carry all of Wang Lin's treasures, it also contained his Tao. Carrying the yellow light, Wang Lin charged out. At this moment, in the thick fog in the sky, many parts of the armor of the large man had broken off. He had been forced to retreat many times and the devilish flame in his eyes had weakened, but he continued to release crazy roars. The eyes of the ancient demon formed from Wang Lin's blood lit up. He charged out and continued to use one spell after another. The large man coughed out blood and was forced to retreat once more. Accept your death. The ancient demon let out a shout before the illusion of himself went inside the blood body. He then turned into a ray of demonic light and surrounded the large man's entire body. Being surrounded by the demonic light, caused the devil's soul to reappear between the large man's eyebrows. The devil let out a sharp screech, and a sound wave spread out. Under the effect of the sound wave, the demonic light paused for a moment. Then the devil's soul gave the ancient demon a vicious look and returned back into the large man. At the same time, the large man backed up to escape. Wang Lin was waiting for this moment. He charged into the sky like a meteor. The yellow light in his hand shined, and in the blink of an eye, he charged into the thick fog. He charged straight at the large man, who was attempting to leave the attack range of the ancient demon. As he retreated, the large man noticed Wang Lin's approach. There was a hint of contempt in his eyes, as he didn't consider Wang Lin worthy of his attention at all. He casually waved his right hand at Wang Lin as he backed up. A gust of wind was created from his hand, and then the 130,000 life seals around Wang Lin's body began to collapse. 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 80,000. As the life seals collapsed, Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He forced himself forward and arrived before the large man, just as all 130,000 life seals collapsed. Then Wang Lin threw the yellow light in his hand without any hesitation. The large man let out a cold snort. Then his right hand formed a fist and punched at the yellow light. He wanted to shatter this yellow light. However, at the moment his right hand collided with the yellow light, his expression changed greatly. There were too many different auras inside the yellow light, and all of them were merged by force by a strand of divine sense and Tao. It somehow actually formed a force that could threaten him. If everything was normal, perhaps it wouldn't really threaten him. However, even though he was already injured, he had just started a great battle with the ancient demon only to suffer more injuries. Also, after losing the Devil Tower, his divine sense was trapped inside the armor. He was unable to spread out his divine sense, and thus he couldn't use a lot of his spells. The yellow light's power surged out, and the large man involuntarily stopped for a moment. The price of this pause was the demonic light formed by the ancient demon caught up and completely engulfed him. This demonic light was an extremely powerful spell of the ancient demons that could refine all living things in the world. The large man let out a miserable groan and began to release a large amount of devilish energy. This devilish energy was immediately refined, leaving not a single trace of it behind. The devil came out from the large man's eyebrows and shouted, "Bei Luo, if you kill me, Master will definitely not forgive you for this." He also came out completely before turning into a ray of light and entering the armor. Right after he did so, the armor left the large man's body. The armor was surrounded by a monstrous amount of devilish energy and was about to charge out of the demonic light. Abandon the mount to save the general, was the thought in the devil's soul's mind right now. Although he would lose the body, as long as the armor wasn't lost, he could recover one day. At most he would just have to find another body. Also, without the body, the devil's soul believed he would be able to escape with his spells. After the large man lost the armor, his entire body began to erode under the demonic light. Then his eyes dimmed and he fell from the sky. The armor spent almost all of its devilish energy to escape from the demonic light. The devil was very happy. As long as he could get out of the demonic light, he could use a spell to quickly leave. However, just as he became happy, that happiness disappeared. Wang Lin's right hand moved like lightning and grabbed the armor right as it charged out. Wang Lin would do whatever it took to get things done. After all the planning he did, how could he let this so-called shattered devil escape at the last moment? If the devil escaped today, he would forever have to face the devil's crazed revenge in the future unless he hid inside Sky Demon City forever. Also, Wang Lin believed that the ancient demon would definitely help him at the last moment. Otherwise, the ancient demon would not have appeared at all. With Wang Lin's cunning, he was easily able to see through all of this. At the moment his right hand grabbed the armor, Wang Lin already expected the Devil Soul to enter his body, so he activated the remaining Celestial Ascension fruit inside his origin soul. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly turned blood red, and his entire body entered a state of extreme madness. "You won't be able to escape." As Wang Lin shouted, he suddenly pulled his right hand back, dragging the armor back with it. The Devil Soul appeared from the armor and viciously stared at Wang Lin. The Devil Soul let out a roar before charging into Wang Lin's palm and rushing toward Wang Lin's origin soul. At the same time, the armor turned into black strands. It wrapped itself around Wang Lin and then turned back into armor. Wang Lin was now wearing a set of black armor, his eyes were blood red, and his hair moved without any wind. Inside his body, his origin soul had reached its peak with the help of the Celestial Ascension fruit. He began a battle with the Devil Soul that had lost most of its devilish energy. The demonic light dissipated and turned back into the ancient demon's blood shadow. He looked at Wang Lin with admiration in his eyes and smiled. What a good strategy, to stimulate the origin soul to help resist against the Devil Soul. If I help you, then I will have done as you planned, but if I don't help you, then the battle earlier will end up being pointless. You calculated that I would definitely help you. Good, this is your fortune, so I'll help you. As the ancient demon spoke, he grabbed Wang Lin. He also grabbed the large man, whose body was eroding but hadn't died yet. Then the ancient demon turned into a ray of light and charged toward the dragon lake outside of Sky Demon City. This video will end here.